All right, so you've always wanted to kind of work in 3D design, modeling, maybe try a 3D printer, and you don't know where to get going. Well, this video is for you in that case, and it's a lot of fun. So, if you have no experience at all, this is perfect. Your first step is let's go to tinkercad.com because it's a great way for beginners to start off with 3D modeling. You don't need to know coding, you don't need to know a lot of commands. It's really simplistic. If you can build Lego, you can play on Tinkercad. And the nice thing about Tinkercad is provided by Autodesk, which then they have more professional grade programs, or if you get into more complicated projects, you can kind of graduate from Tinkercad and move on to, you've got Inventor, you've got AutoCAD, you've got other software under their license. Those are just two that I use for my job frequently and I find highly useful. Okay, your first step, go into the sign up button and create an account. I'm going to leave that out because that's easy enough to follow along. It's pretty simple. And just be truthful. If you're under the age, make sure you have your parents' permission and do everything properly. Once you sign in for the very first time, you're going to get shown some tutorials. I recommend doing a couple of tutorials so that you are comfortable with how the software works. It's not that hard, but there's a couple little tips and tricks you want to do, and then it becomes really simple. Once you have an account and you've done a few tutorials and kind of feel comfortable moving the camera around and all that kind of idea, then come back to this video and we'll do your very first project for you. All right, let's get started. So your very first step is we're going to go into after you log in, and you can see here we want to click on designs because we want to see 3D design, circuit, code blocks. We're only going to be focused on 3D designs today. We're then going to click new, and we're going to click 3D design. That'll bring you to this page here. Your first step, as with any project, is put a name on it. I'm just going to call this keychain. You can be more creative or less. That's just the easy one for me. The next step is I'm going to bring out our base of this project. Now, I'm going to take the mouse over here, and I'm going to drag and drop your block right from there to there. Now, there's 2-3 ways, depending how you look at it, on our next step, as we need to elongate and then put the measurements to this block what we need. So I can go over here and change it that way. I can also click on these white arrows and pull it long and wide. But what I like to do is if you click on the white, it'll give these numbers, as I like to be accurate. So I would recommend 79 millimeters, and I'm going to recommend 22 millimeters. Okay, and then I'm going to use the wheel on my mouse to just move this to where I want it to, as I like it to be right in the middle, and I'm going to close this as that's not needed anymore. Now that, as we can see, is a little too thick, and if you're wondering how I'm moving the camera, I'm clicking on the right button on my mouse, and that's about it. I'm going to shrink this because it's a keychain, so we want it to fit in your pocket. So I'm going to click on the white, and again, you can use the other methods. This can be the thickness. You can drag it with your mouse. I prefer just to type the numbers in, so I'm going to click on the number with my left mouse, and I'm going to put 3. And now I have a nice flat surface to work from at this point. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to click off the screen, so like I clicked right there with my left, so that you can see the arrows disappearing. I'm then going to go over to the text, and I'm going to drag and drop. I'm not going to put it on right away, and there's a very important reason for this, and the reason is quite simple. I want to be able to make it look the way I want without worrying about messing up what we've got already here. So I am now going to bring this down. As we can see, we can move this, and I'm just left clicking, and we can see text. So I'm going to put my last name on here, and we can already see a problem. Okay. Well, how do we fix it? So I can play with these. I don't prefer that, especially with the text. What I like to do is just drag it until it fits. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, and the nice is I'm going to put it right in the middle. And one nice thing with my name, I've got that L marker. As you can kind of see, my box is lined up on this paper right here. So I got the corner there and there. So it's one box off. So I'm just going to eyeball it in. And I like it just like that. I think that looks pretty darn good. Okay, now we can see that's way too big. If it was in my pocket, the letters eventually would get broken off. So I'm going to shrink this, and it's 10. Our thickness of our bottom plate is 3. So I'm just going to put, instead of 3, I'm going to double it at 6. And that should be pretty good at that stage. Okay. So the last thing we need to do is create the ring. Okay? And the ring is super simple because it's already in there. Okay? So we've got our ring right here. I'm just going to drag and drop it on here. And we want to have the ring, you know, it's 22. I'm going to go half, so I'm going to go with 11 by 11. So it is 11 by 11. I'm going to set the thickness at 3. And I am going to raise this nothing. Because remember, this is 3, that's 6. I'm just going to drag this over, and I'm going to push this right in. Okay? Now the nice thing about this software is that there will not be a break if you 3D print this. And I'm going to show you another step how, and we're going to make sure that works. Okay, so the last step here is we need to group the button. Okay, so to group any object, I'm going to left click and drag that box over top, and I'm going to go over here and click group. And very simply, all this does is attaches all the pieces. As we can see, this is now one piece. And that's it. Your very first 3D printed project or design